All right, how's it going today, guys? Happy Monday, happy new week of trading, and happy end of Super Bowl Sunday. Shout out to the stream sponsors of CoinCatch and Tealstreet. They are some of the better projects out there that I am working with. You know, Tealstreet is really a good way to kind of read level 2 pricing. It's really a good way to kind of read the momentum shifts on BTC, on Ethereum, as you know, those are the two that I mainly watch on Tealstreet to kind of get a little bit of momentum shifts, that sort of thing. And then shout out to CoinCatch. They are the perpetual exchange of choice, guys. Non-VPN, non-KYC. You can kind of just set it up and start trading right away without any of the nonsense kind of going on with some of these exchanges. All right, so let's just kind of jump into some NPOC levels here, guys. A little bit hungover, so got a little bit of a headache this morning, so kind of just trying to get you guys the best possible analysis going into this week. But yeah, so a couple plays, right? So we have a couple NPOCs. The NPOC prints have kind of just been getting overextended here, and you can kind of see as that BTC has kind of gone straight up from about that 42K to about 50K. It's kind of leaving some NPOCs to the downside, 47,340, 44,680, and then some of these down here at the $42,000 range. So those are still going to be long entries, right? You know, there's still long targets for me. You know, there's no rush. You still kind of have to have patience a little bit within them. You know, you're not going to get them right away. And I think this is the frustrating part for people who are sidelined, right? Or this is the frustrating part for people who missed 38K and they don't want to be longing. They don't want to be chasing, right? Because right here at about 44, 45K, you kind of feel like you're chasing the move a little bit. And even for me, I wasn't longing in those areas. So you got to understand and take it with a little bit of grain of salt. For me, if I'm long 38K, there's no reason that I should continue to long 45 and 44K. There's just no reason to kind of be adding to that when I got a really good position lower. And so, you know, if you aren't writing a position lower from around these 38K, which again, we had been longing, but it took a couple of attempts, and that's what you guys got to understand. Every single trade isn't going to be perfect. I probably took 2 losses longing this area first before we got the deviation to 38K, staying long, and then repositioning myself in this area for the move higher. Lo and behold, I've taken way more profits the past couple of days than I have the entire year, you know? So it's just kind of the name of the game, guys. And same thing up in this area. I still do not think that this is a good long. Like, if you're longing 49K, you know, what's the point? But also, if you keep shorting it, that's where Tealstreet for me kind of comes into play. You can see the strength on this. If you just look at the depth chart and you just look at the order book right now, there's no sell pressure, right? And you have to be able to dive into a level 2 data book to understand that, right? Because if you're just looking at normal price action with a little bit of volume on the bottom, like, you're not going to be able to see where those momentum shifts are. And so right about, I think it was like right in here, you just really started to see a lot of strength, right? So we had a push above my initial entry, and then I started to re-add. So I had initial entry, and then I started to add a little bit higher, right? And like I said, I think my overall, I don't know what the exact trade was, took a loss on it, but the overall position I was in was about 47,000 was where I was short. We saw a little bit of downside, but again, you can see these type of momentum shifts on the level 2, guys. You can kind of see that there was a little bit of downside, but you can see once it turns on the level 2 just how much momentum there was. And I think this was around this area here, right? You can see that it's starting to get bought up quick. Like, this dip was getting bought up, we had a low sell off, but then boom, right in this area. And I think this was kind of right around where I started to close that short, because again, you just saw the momentum shift on the level 2 on Tealstreet, and then I was able to kind of cut my losses. Again, no harm, no foul, guys. I'm sticking to my setups. It doesn't matter. I don't have a 100% hit rate, right? So at the end of the day, I'll take losses. I'll take multiple losses, small losses, to catch that big winner to the upside. And again, this is just a very, very perfect example of that. I see people kind of talking about that they, you know, lost money on that short or whatever. Well, you know what? So did I. I lost money on that short as well. I'm not saying that I made profits from it, but you got to understand it's a edge-based game. That's what trading is. You have to have an edge. And if you are just blindly shorting because you think a double top is going to happen, guess what? I shorted and lost money too. So at the end of the day, like, you guys just have to understand that there's different types of readings, there's different types of time frames, different types of momentums. I didn't reshort this. I shorted it once, I lost, and then I was done. You know, I don't know if you were stubborn kind of and then reshorting kind of up higher and higher and higher and then just kind of getting stopped out. But I'll tell you guys, once one of my trades goes south, if I don't have like a real level, because it's kind of like the same thing like right here, right? The same area to where I was longing, I took a couple losses, and then I caught the big winner. Same thing, shorting maybe around this area, you take a couple losses, and then you maybe can potentially catch that big winner. So it's just the way that you trade trade. It's the way that you have your setups going, right? The way that you have your positions. Because for me, the short wasn't a big deal on the loss because I had already made a lot of money from longing 38K, and I'm still long from 38K on partial position. So if your only position is shorting BTC into strength without having any sort of long exposure during a very momentum riding move higher, it's probably not going to end well for you. So, you know, it just kind of is what it is, and you kind of got to take it with a grain of salt, and then also be better about positioning yourself to the upside or to the downside. Because if, I mean, just looking at Tealstreet, I kind of want to short this, but there's no reason to short this. Why would I be considering shorting into this move higher where 50K is a very psychological lever, but we could also tear through 50K. So if you're just wanting to short 50K because it was like a recent highs, or it's like that, you know, that psychological level of just, you know, a whole number, well, then, you know, you got to have a game plan because BTC is tapping into 50K and there's no reason for me to want to be shorting this. If we run higher into this NPOC level at 54,457, I will definitely be watching price action. But this is why I say that some of these are not automatic shorts. They're not automatic longs. They're areas of interest that you need to dive into some data like the level 2 to kind of figure out that real momentum move up or down. So let's just kind of go over some setups that we kind of have. Again, the NPOCs are a little bit rough right now just because during big moves higher or big moves lower without any retest, you're going to get a lot of prints. And these do not mean that we have to come down and retest all of these. Like, I think a lot of people were wanting a retest, because even myself, right? You know, even myself, I would have liked in this area when we were about like that 42,000, I would have loved a retest down here. And then, you know, you could reposition yourself long, you could put some ads on your longs, whatever it is, but we just didn't get it. And so again, signs of strength, that is what's happening. Signs of strength, moving up higher without any retest is exactly what is kind of unfolding within BTC right now. And really, we could run up to 56,000, right? So we could really just easily burst through 50K and get into that 56,000 area, and then people will be, in my opinion, kind of fucked. But at the end of the day, this will offer us a good support level, as this was once resistance and it was a rejection, and then we can move higher and then a potential retest of that 50K. So we may not get these $42,000 levels that everybody's wanting, that people are wanting to long into. So that's just kind of the reality. If you look at NPOC prints, there's a lot to the downside that we didn't get the retest of. This is why I say focusing on local prints. You know, we have some that I would have loved a retest of 25K down in this area, but they just didn't happen. And so same thing, during a momentum move, we would love a retest of that 42,000, but it just might not happen. And for me, I'm happy with us going higher. I don't know about you guys. I don't know what your exposure is. I don't know your portfolio. I don't know anything that you're doing, but I do know at the end of the day that I want crypto to go up. I am long from longing shitcoins in the bear market of 2022 and at the start of 2023. I'm still holding some of those positions. So for me, I don't really care. You know, I'll take a potential hedge short when the time comes. Like, I think right now we do have a potential short that we have been planning since, I think it was mid-December, 12/6. We wanted a retest of that 54.57, and once we do kind of close that out, I might consider another short hedge. But again, I'll happily take a loss on that, guys. You got to understand that my longs are going to exponentially outweigh that one short hedge. And so that's what you guys kind of have to understand is, like I said, if you're taking your portfolio and you have no other exposure and all you do is you're trying to short BTC into a very, very powerful move higher, then that's probably just not going to end well for you. So again, you have to understand the situation. You have to understand your portfolio. If you don't have any long exposure right now, that's an issue, because we have really been longing all of 2023. I've been talking about altcoins that, you know, the SUI, I caught SUI at 38 cents. I did that live in front of you guys. So you got to understand where we are within the market environment and where we are within the moves higher, because we could still see higher. But let's get into ETH. ETH is running crazy, guys. And I kind of spent a long time on Bitcoin, but Ethereum's still running crazy. I still think this can see 3K. You know, 3003 is the next NPOC overhead, and then actually 3101, and you can just tell that it has more room to run. It's still kind of lagging within the current range as BTC is breaking above upper limit, and Ethereum still has room to move before we kind of break those local highs. So that's kind of why my focus has been Ethereum and altcoins, just because I do think they have the potential for more upside in the near future, right? Let's look at some setups and just kind of go about our normal price action and our normal analysis during live streams, right? For me, I'm not going to long Ethereum. I'm still long Ethereum from 2100, so not going to be putting putting on any ads in this area. I will say that an ad would be kind of in this area here for me, would be that 2300. This would be the next area to long on Ethereum for me. But again, this isn't live or die by this. So if you guys are waiting for this to happen, maybe we need to dive into, you know, some low term time frame current ranges and find a little bit better of an entry, because sometimes these NPOC levels get front run and they get back run, whatever, however you want to call it, that sort of thing. So this would be where I would enjoy another long on ETH. But again, it's not 100% certainty that we're going to get it, right? We've been kind of wanting to long those levels since 2.7, so about a week. You know, we've kind of still been wanting to long those as well. This was another good call based off of entry 2272. This was where we wanted to long. So I gave pretty good signals. I was long in this area on Ethereum, but then also these NPOC levels added good confluence to kind of get long again. So 2270 and 2272 along with 2100 lower limit of this range was really the area that I was kind of wanting to long. So gave some pretty good calls on Ethereum too, if you guys were paying attention and kind of getting long as well. But let's continue to go into the next short. Really, I have no interest in shorting Ethereum. I think shorting Ethereum and altcoins is like a death wish, honestly, on your portfolio. I just think that the next area of interest to short was this area, this NPOC print at 2477. I didn't short it for obvious reasons. I was shorting BTC and that failed. So that doesn't mean that I'm going to jump over to Ethereum and short that. All it means is, you know, this is a game plan that was invalidated. And again, I didn't trade this one. So it kind of is what it is. We can kind of get rid of that and invalidate that. Next area for interest to short, let's see, 124. So that was the same thing, kind of shorting in that area, but didn't take the trade. So we had three actual setups to short into that area on Ethereum. It was 130, 124, and 122. So that was the area to kind of look to short, but again, didn't take the trade. Kind of is what it is. Failed on the BTC trade. And then yeah, this is the next area I was looking for. This one, the 3003 area on Ethereum is the next area of interest to short for me. And again, we can kind of make this game plan here. So again, if I have no real willingness to short Ethereum until 3000, what does that mean? That means that I'm looking for it to go higher, right? So we have our long, we have our short on Ethereum. This is a very wide range, right? We have about a 28% between the 2300 and the 3000. So it's a pretty good percentage. But again, I still think Ethereum has so much more room to run, guys. I just think it has the most legs across all of crypto right now. It's been the lagger for a long time. A lot of people have given up on it. A lot of people have transitioned to Sol. There will be a time that ETH catches up. But again, thank you guys all for joining the VIP live stream. This will be posted on tradewithcastillo.com, so you could rewatch it later, and then you could also rewatch it from the Telegram. Thanks again for everything, guys. The Super Bowl was great last night. A new week of trading. I think we got a lot of opportunities come up. This is not the time to not put in the work, right? This really is, in my opinion, one of the best times to focus, to especially look at Castillo AI trading and seeing if you can kind of get some of those entries, seeing if you can find some of those altcoins that are really going to pop, because the money's going to shift. Bitcoin, Ethereum, into altcoins, and then into, you know, whatever after that. Last cycle was NFTs. Maybe this time it's GameFi. Who the fuck knows? But all I know is that I'm very, very excited for the coming months, into the halving in a couple of months. And so we got a lot going on. So this is the time to focus. Be in the Telegram every single day, because that's where I'll be, and you can kind of get some ideas from me. You can get some setups from me. But I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll talk to you in the Telegram. Peace.